Hello everyone, I am Crawlers, and apparently there is a new battlefield for patching coming, which I'm going to read off some of the patch changes that are going to make it into the patch. And surprisingly, most of these changes are pretty good, and I tend to agree with them, and I think most people tend to agree with them. So, as the battle log says, here are the changes. For the aircraft and anti-aircraft, it's as follows. Reduce the total amount of missiles carried by the mobile AA vehicles from 6 to 4. The total carried missiles were making it impossible for helicopters to use countermeasures to avoid the MAA's attacks, which I think is a pretty good change. It's probably the MAA should still remain pretty dangerous, but it's something against all the whiners who said they've been constantly killed by the MAA. Alright, so next they reduced the velocity of the MAA's default 20mm cannon from 1200 meters a second to 800 meters a second to match the 30mm cannon. This reduction reduces the distance projectiles will travel and should prevent situations where the MAA could engage enemy vehicles without leaving its protected home base. The damage of the cannons remain unchanged, and aircraft, especially helicopters, should remain wary of getting too close to the MAA, which I think kind of makes sense. Everyone was pretty much unanimous in nerfing the radius of the MAA, so it's a good change. Reduce the physical impact of all anti-aircraft missiles to prevent helicopters from flipping uncontrollably when hit. The damage values have not been changed. Well, alright, I guess. It took some skill to recover, but I mean, it wasn't that important. I don't see why they did it. It's a missile, for Christ's sake. It's supposed to kill a helicopter. Alright, number 4. Reduce the cone in which active radar missiles search for targets, making them require a higher level of skill in predicting where a target will be when the missile is fired. The missiles were previously too easy to aim at long range, and making them a guaranteed hit and a clear advantage over the other missile types, which I guess is good. I never really used them that much to have an opinion. Increase the direct damage done by the attack chopper's gunner cannon. The gunner will now be able to assist the pilot in taking down vehicle targets with this change. This is, I think, a great change. I mean, the gunner was seriously underpowered, and I hope they can do something against infantry. I hope it translates to anti-infantry damage as well. They also increased the direct hit damage of the Zuni rockets for attack helicopters. The rate of fire of these rockets, combined with the smaller magazine pool, made them a poor choice over the other two rocket types. And I think this is a great change. I mean, I was one to always say that the Zuni rockets were pretty useless, and I never carried them anyway. I think this is a very good change. Alright, number 7. Reduce the splash damage and maximum splash damage range of the Scout helicopter 25mm cannons. These weapons were too effective against infantry with higher splash, making them a clear choice of the 7.62 miniguns in all combat situations. The 25mm cannons are intended to give the Scout helicopter some measure of effectiveness against vehicles at a clear trade-off in effectiveness versus infantry. Well, I mean, the Scout helicopter wasn't all that useful to begin with, at least with me, so I don't really agree with this change, but alright, I can see why they did it. Alright, so let's now go to tanks and anti-tank changes that they implemented. Number 1. they reduced the intelligence, in quotation marks, of the MBT-LAW missiles, requiring the player to aim the missile closer to the target before the smart projectile will activate. Additionally, the MBT-LAW now reloads slightly slower. This keeps the MBT-LAW in its role of an easy-to-use fire-and-forget weapon available to all engineers, while balancing it with the other rocket launchers in favor of the skilled AT shots. Finally, a bug with the MBT-LAW would pass through an active protection shield, and that has been fixed. Alright, number 2. An issue where active protection and the MPAPS did not properly stop 12 gauge frag rounds. Alright, that's good. Number 3. Reduce the range where the M2 SLAM will do maximum damage to vehicles from 6 to 3 meters. Players will now need to be craftier when placing the M2 SLAM in order to get full damage potential of this ambush anti-vehicle weapon. This changes to primarily counter a tactic of placing 3 mines in the same spot to guarantee a kill on any vehicle passing within 6 meters. The range was deemed to be too large, making the M2 SLAM far superior to the M15 AT mine. And I love the SLAM, and I don't see the reason why they did this, why they nerfed it so much, but it's a pretty much one-stop shopping weapon for everything. But I guess we'll have to deal with it. I suspect the reason that they did this, they nerfed the M2 SLAM, is because they took a look at all the used gun stats and saw that pretty much no one ever used the AT mines anymore. And I can see that happening because I haven't been killed by an AT mine probably since Battlefield 4 came out. And the final change is they reduced the damage of the that the staff shell does to all targets by 25%. This should balance and ease the use of the staff shell with its damage potential. Alright, I guess it's an interesting change that they did. So now, having said all this, the one thing I do hope they sort out in this patch is this 0 HP mess. I've been killed by at least a dozen people today with 0 HP. It's just incredibly annoying, What do you say, people? Do you agree with these changes? Leave me a like or a comment, and please check out my other videos and share this video as it helps my channel grow. And remember, in Soviet Russia, YouTube subscribes you.